chapter 2, verse 1 up to verse 16. Then Joshua son of Nun secretly sent 2 spies from Chittim. Go look over the land, he said, especially Jericho. So they went and entered the house of a prostitute named Rahab and stayed there. The king of Jericho was told, look, some of the Israelites have come here tonight to spy out the land. So the king of Jericho sent this message to Rahab, bring out the men who came to you and entered your house, because they have come to spy out the whole land. But the woman had taken the 2 men and hidden them. She said, yes, the men came to me, but I did not know where they had come from. At dusk, when it was time to close the city gate, the men left. I don't know which way they went. Go after them quickly, you may catch up with them. But she had taken them up on the roof and hidden them under the stock of flask she had laid out on the roof. So the men set out in pursuit of the spies on the road that leads to the fords of the Jordan. And as soon as the pursuers had gone out, the gate was shut. Before the spies lay down for the night, she went up onto the roof and said to them, I know that the Lord has given you this land to you, and that a great fear of you had fallen on us, so that all who live in this country are melting in fear because of you. We have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, and what he did to Sihon and Og, the 2 kings of the Amorites, east of the Jordan, whom you completely destroyed. When we heard of it, our hearts melted, and everyone's courage failed because of you. For the Lord your God is a God in heaven above and on earth below. Now then, please swear to me by the Lord that you will show kindness to my father, to my family, because I have shown kindness to you. Give me a sure sign that you will spare the lives of my father and mother, my brothers and sisters, and all who belong to them, and that you will save us from death. Our lives for your lives, the men assured her. If you don't tell what we are doing, we will treat you kindly and faithfully when the Lord gives us the land. So she let them down by a rope through the window, for the house she lived in was part of the city wall. Now she had said to them, go to the hills, so that the pursuers will not find you. Hide yourselves there 3 days until they return, and then go on your way. The word of God is telling us about the wisdom God gave to Joshua to go and spy the land. He wanted to know what is in the promised land. Just as I've done for you, do it for me as well. And then give me a sign, she said. Give me a sign that you will spare the lives of my father and my mother, my brothers and my sisters, and all who belong to them, and that you will save us from death. Listen to what they said, our lives for your lives. The men assured her, if you don't tell what we are doing, we will treat you kindly and faithfully when the Lord gives us the land. They have not yet taken the land, they're only spying, but the lady was very, very helpful, and yet this lady was able to ask them to show kindness to her father's house. Some of you may think this is a prostitute. If you're thinking about a prostitute who's somebody who cares about herself, her well-being, or the well-being of her children, or people who are there with her in her house, and normally in our context, it is a kind of a very ugly, low, slummy place, which is very cheap, of course. But now this woman is going beyond herself. This woman is going beyond herself because she knows that she belongs to a family. And I find it very encouraging to think about this woman in terms of her generosity, because she's thinking beyond herself. Now, these men made a promise that put a scarlet ribbon by your window. When we are coming, we shall see it. That's another story, because we're going to talk about that when Jericho is going to fall. But for her, when everything is done and she knew everything is already closed in, she then let these people through the window with a rope because the building was within a wall. So the window opens out. They could not go through the gate is closed. They could not go in the streets because they were spies. And of course, the king now knows about them. God gave her wisdom. So she let down these guys through a window, and they were out in safety. Then she gave them instruction in verse 16. This is what she said. She said, "Go to the hills so the pursuers will not find you. Hide yourself there 3 days until they return, and then go on your way." People have gone out there looking for you. People have gone there putting ambushes here and there, yes. But you go out into the hills. For them that have gone to Jordan, you go up into the hills for 3 days, hide yourself until you are sure these guys have come back. What a strategy I see here. God working in an amazing way to protect both Rahab, her family, when the time comes, but to protect the spies who had gone in there and put their lives in danger into a very formidably built town of Jericho. They're calling it a city. When we are thinking about a city, we are thinking about Kampala, we are thinking about Arua, we are thinking about Lira, quite a big place. But this is also by itself a specific place built in. In their days, they would build big, strong walls for protection. And once they close the door, the people inside are safe. And the strategy of war during those years, if an army comes to invade your city, they may find you already locked in there, and then now they would now come around your city and spend month after month to starve you. The point is, whatever food you keep inside will get finished. You're not going to go out to look for food, so they keep around you. Another thing they would do is bring a very big trunk of a tree and hit the gate until they break it. But Jericho was very strong. Jericho was very heavily guarded up on the roof of the walls, and then the gate was very strong. Now, God has already given the information that these people in Jericho are afraid. Why are they afraid? They are afraid because they have heard the Israelites, God is a mighty God. Got them out of Egypt, opened the Red Sea, and brought them through this desert, and God has been leading them. They have heard of the God of the Israelites to be a mighty, mighty God. Not yet entered the promised land, but he wanted to know what is in the promised land and what is going on in Jericho. This city had the test of his ability, meaning that if he pulled down Jericho, if he could overrun Jericho, the surrounding areas will be very, very frightened. The success of this first campaign will determine what will follow next. I look at another guy similarly called Nehemiah. Nehemiah, too, before he could embark on anything, Nehemiah went at night to survey the magnitude of the destruction of the walls of Jerusalem by himself. He went on his donkey and he never told anybody else what he was doing, just to let himself be aware in first-hand experience what was going on. Then after finishing the surveying of everything else, he came to meet the elders to tell them the situation. That's Nehemiah chapter 2. Joshua did the same. Joshua did the same. He sent 2 people. Now you should remember the last time Joshua and 11 other people went to spy the land was much, much earlier on. Moses sent them, 1 per tribe, 12 of them, to go into the land, check out the land, see the fertility, look at the people, how are they, what kind of people are they, what is their level of military hardware, and then what kind of people are they went in there. We are told in the Bible that 10 people came with a very negative report. But only 2 people, Joshua and Caleb, gave a positive report that if the Lord gives us this land, we can take it. And now you see, this is the Joshua now in charge. Instead of sending 12, he's sending 2. And now he's beginning to look at what happened in the first mission when they were sent by Moses. Now the 2 people had to go. The spies, then God led them into the house of a prostitute. Now, some of us feel very uncomfortable to think that these are God's God's people, these are the people of Israel chosen by God. How come they go into a prostitute's house? Well, a prostitute's house for a man is a neutral ground. Men go in there. Men who are heavy loaded with lust go in there. So there is no suspicion. I believe this is also wisdom from God. Now, sadly, and maybe strangely enough, people recognize them. People recognize them. And so much so that the king was told in verse 2, look, some of the Israelites have come here tonight to spy out the land inside, only under the bondage of the devil. The trouble they're going through, the difficulty they're going through. A woman who cannot make ends meet may want to sell her body in order to survive. And you're calling her prostitutes for nothing, because the men who use her should equally be called prostitutes. But because she's a woman and we look down upon women, she makes a possibility because men are looking for her. So this sad incident does not deter God from using people. All of us are sinners, no matter who we are.